Okay, so here's a question that I get asked all the time. How can you tell the difference between Dakos, Gasos, Gasos machine, Gasos Ribua Regel, Miksha? How can you tell the difference? If you're looking at your own tefillin, or if you're looking at a pair of tefillin to buy, you should be able to identify at least the differences between the major categories. This is an example of pshutais. Let me try to zoom in a little bit. One of the ways to know whether your tefillin are pshutais is look at the back of the tefillin over here. Now this would also help you identify dakos. Okay, so look at the back over here. If the back over here of the tefillin is very, very thin, that is a sure sign that you either have pshutais or dakos. They're definitely not going to be gasos, because gasos has a much thicker. I want to focus. Okay, so the gasos has a much thicker back here, as you can see in this side-by-side comparison. Okay, look at the thickness of the gasos. You see how that is nearly twice, 3 times as thick. The top over here, the bottom, the back. Look how much thicker it is. Okay, that's a way to know, oh, I have gasos. Look at that. I have gasos. Oh, I have pshutais. How can you tell the difference between gasos, Rav Prudis, and Prudis Agamri? The only way that you will be able to do that is if you try to pull, like I showed you before on the bottom, and I'll do it again. Can you see them move slightly ajar? Okay, if you can do that, that's a way to know that you do have Prudis Agamri. But like I mentioned earlier, sometimes the paint will hold it together, so it might not be able to be separated because of the paint. And then that's something you have to, take into consideration if you want to try separating the paint with a knife or things like that. But again, so that would be Prudis Agamri versus Rav Prudis. Can you separate the compartments? In Rav Prudis, it's usually not going to budge. How can you tell the difference between Prudis Agamri and the Ribua Regel, which is the handmade or the foot-made, the higher level bottom? One of the signs is that every single tefillin that we have today has what's called the chut tefira bein bottom. And to show you what that looks like, I have another tefillin over here that's opened. Okay, this is the shel-reish, and as you can see here, there is, and again, this is an example which is not a prime example because it has the indentations over there. But what it has is it has the chut tefira bein bottom. What that is basically is there's a gid which goes through the base of the tefillin, and you can see here where it comes out just over here, the other end. Again, so it goes through here, comes back here, and then comes out over here. That's called the chut tefira bein bottom. The reason why we do that is brought down that there was a time where people were making fake bottom. They were making it was almost like a shel yad, so to speak, when they would put in fake compartments, and then they would paint it, and they would take a tool and they would scratch in as if there was 4 separate compartments, and there really wasn't. So the way to combat that, they instituted that they should have what's called the chut tefira bein bottom. And I can show you in the Dakos better. You see here in the Dakos, you also have this what's called the chut tefira bein bottom. Okay, can you see that? And what that does is it goes in between each one of the compartments along the base of the tefillin. And what that does is it proves to us as hey, these are real gasos, because again, maybe you're not going to be able to pull them apart because they're Rav Prudis. So if they're Rav Prudis and you can't pull them apart, how do you know that there's really 4 separate compartments? Well, the chut tefira bein bottom, that will tell you that there are definitely 4 separate compartments, because otherwise, how do you get the chut tefira through them, right? So in a regular machine bottom, whether they're Rav Prudis or Prudis Agamri, you're not going to see the chut tefira bein bottom from the outside. It's called mibafnim. It's from the inside. So inside, when you open at the bottom, you'll see that gid sticking out. But on the Ribua Regel, the higher level bottom, the handmade, you will see what's called the chut tefira mibachutz. You might have heard of these terms, but not understood what they represent. So if you look at this tefillin here, this is an example of Ribua Regel. And as you can see, there's the 3 giddim that they're running between the compartments. But they don't just run from the inside. This is a tefillin which I have already made for somebody. They're picking it up. And you can see here how the gid is actually going through, and you can see it from the outside. Okay, so versus the machine, these tefillin here, which I'm showing you here, these are machines. So even when these are sewn, you're not going to see that gid coming out from between the compartments of the shel-reish. Again, this all applies to the shel-reish, not for the shel yad. Okay. So here you see the one of the obvious signs between the machine and the Abadisyat Ribua Regel. Okay? So again, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe. If you like this video, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you on my next video. Another video coming out real soon, and stay tuned.